Welcome to the Texas Department of Transportation Houston District's virtual public meeting for the TxDOT I-10 Inner Katy Corridor Managed Lanes project from I-610, the West Loop, to I-45. This is a pre-recorded presentation. On behalf of TxDOT, I would like to thank you for participating in this virtual public meeting. This is the first public meeting being conducted for the TxDOT I-10 Inner Katy Corridor Managed Lanes project. This presentation is available for viewing starting on Thursday, February 25th, 2021. During the virtual meeting, you may pause the presentation and navigate forward or backward using your video player. Given the unique circumstances of the COVID-19 pandemic, along with TxDOT's commitment to protecting public health during this national emergency, TxDOT is conducting this virtual public meeting to avoid in-person contact. At this time, an online public meeting is being conducted in lieu of an in-person public meeting. This presentation covers the same information that the Houston District would have presented at an in-person public meeting. The comment process for the virtual public meeting will be described near the end of this presentation. All meeting materials can be found on TxDOT's I-10 Inner Katy Corridor Managed Lanes project webpage. To access the webpage, go to www.txdot.gov and do a keyword search for I-10 Inner Katy Corridor. This virtual public meeting is being held to introduce the proposed project, to present concepts being considered, and to gather public input. You are encouraged to submit comments regarding the project after reviewing the meeting materials and listening to this presentation. Methods for submitting comments will be outlined at the end of this presentation. A notice for this public meeting was published in the Houston Chronicle on February 10, 2021. A notice was also published in Spanish in the La Voz newspaper on February 14, 2021. Also on February 10th, letters to elected officials were emailed, information was posted to the TxDOT website, and notices were mailed directly to adjacent property owners. Other forms of outreach included Facebook, Twitter, and changeable message boards on I-10. Although the proposed project is not currently funded, it is anticipated to be programmed with both state and federal funds. Because of the potential for federal funding, TxDOT is required to assess the potential environmental effects of the proposed project in accordance with federal standards. This process that is followed is called the National Environmental Policy Act process, otherwise known as NEPA. The NEPA process provides analyses of the potential impacts to the natural and man-made environment and helps the decision maker to make an informed decision on whether or not to proceed with the project. On December 9, 2019, TxDOT received a signed Memorandum of Understanding from the Federal Highway Administration that permits TxDOT to assume responsibility from the Federal Highway Administration for reviewing and approving certain assigned NEPA projects. This review and approval process applies to this project. TxDOT, Metro, and other public agencies are beginning to develop several projects along the I-10 Inner Katy Corridor. The overall goal of these projects is to collectively advance new, sustainable, and multimodal solutions along the corridor that provide a direct link between downtown, the Galleria area, and West Houston, but also serve the needs of local communities such as the Houston Heights and Rice Military. This presentation describes preliminary planning work for the I-10 Inner Katy Corridor Managed Lanes project. Other projects along the corridor that are actively being developed include the Metro Rapid Inner Katy project, the TxDOT I-10 Inner Katy Drainage Improvements project, and the Memorial Heights Redevelopment Authority TERS 5 project on Shepherd Drive and Durham Drive. The TERS 5 Shepherd and Durham project is not being presented by TxDOT or Metro. To find out more information, go to the Memorial Heights TERS 5 webpage. Within the I-10 Inner Katy Corridor, TxDOT is analyzing concepts to improve mobility between I-610 West and downtown Houston. The project's study area limits are the eastern terminus of the Katy Freeway Managed Lanes near Antoine Drive, downtown Houston to the east and south, and the I-610 interchange with Hempstead Road to the north, near the proposed Texas Central High-Speed Rail Station. The project is located in Harris County within the highly developed urban core of Houston. The I-10 Inner Katy Corridor serves many activity centers, including downtown Houston, the Heights and Rice Military neighborhoods, Memorial Park, White Oak Bayou, and other commercial and retail centers. This graphic illustrates the high number of average daily trips to and from major activity centers in central Houston. For example, there are over 1 million daily trips beginning or ending in downtown Houston. The I-10 Inner Katy Freeway is an important component of the transportation network that serves these major activity centers. This map was compiled using origin-destination data from 2019. Our team will continue to monitor changing traffic patterns as the economy continues to recover from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Greater Houston region has sustained high levels of growth for many years, and this trend is expected to continue. The current 8-county regional population of 7.2 million residents is expected to grow by nearly 50% by the year 2045 to a projected population of 10.6 million. The number of jobs in the region is expected to increase by 34% by the year 2045, from 3.5 million to 4.7 million. This growth will lead to greater demand on the freeway system that links residential communities to job centers. Within the portion of central Houston enclosed by Beltway 8, the population is expected to grow by over 500,000 people by 2045. Additionally, this area is expected to add over 500,000 jobs during the same period. I-10 between the I-610 West Loop and I-45 has 5 general-purpose travel lanes in each direction, for a total of 10 lanes. In 2019, the peak hour demand was 22,000 vehicles per hour, which exceeds the capacity of the existing 10 lanes. By the year 2045, the expected peak demand will be 31,000 vehicles per hour, an increase of more than 60%. If no improvements are made to address the growth in the traffic demand, the result will be a steady increase in congestion on I-10. Average vehicle speed is another way to measure mobility. During peak travel times, the average vehicle speed on the I-10 Inner Katy Freeway is reduced to between 20 miles per hour and 35 miles per hour. Currently, the I-10 Inner Katy Corridor has 10 continuous general-purpose travel lanes through the study area. I-10 west of the 610 West Loop has 4 managed lanes. On the east side, I-10 traffic enters downtown using ramps to Smith Street and exits downtown using ramps from Louisiana Street. Downtown does not currently have any direct connections to a continuous managed lane facility. The Inner Katy Corridor presents a roughly 6-mile gap in the network of managed lanes. Based on the projected increase in traffic demand as the region continues to grow, improvements to the I-10 Inner Katy Corridor are needed to improve multimodal mobility and to improve connectivity between major activity centers. The purpose of the proposed project is to improve multimodal mobility and connectivity along I-10 by developing managed lanes to move people and goods in a manner that incentivizes transit and reduces reliance on single occupancy vehicles. To meet the projected demand of increased traffic, a traditional solution would involve adding lanes to the I-10 Inner Katy Corridor. To meet the projected traffic demand, TxDOT would need to add at least 3 additional lanes in each direction. However, adding 3 lanes in each direction would require the acquisition of significant additional right-of-way on both the north and south sides of I-10. The purchase of additional right-of-way would likely impact several businesses and residences, Memorial Park, Cottage Grove Park, and the White Oak Bayou Trail System. In addition, a traditional widening scenario would not address the gap in the managed lane system. Finally, TxDOT has received feedback from the public and from elected officials who want to explore highway improvements that consider transit and other modes of travel, rather than simply adding lanes to address capacity needs. For these reasons, adding general-purpose lanes to the I-10 Inner Katy Corridor is not considered a reasonable solution. Therefore, TxDOT is evaluating managed lane solutions instead of evaluating traditional widening options. Three concepts were developed to address the needs of the Inner Katy Corridor and to address the regional goal of improving multimodal connectivity. These concepts would connect managed lanes from the current terminus of the Katy Freeway Managed Lanes to downtown Houston, and provide connectivity to other high-capacity systems at key locations such as the Northwest Transit Center. These concepts are intended to address increased traffic demand without adding general-purpose travel lanes that would be mostly used by single-occupancy vehicles. By providing solutions that are focused on high-capacity modes of travel, such as regional express bus service and high-occupancy vehicles, increased demand due to regional population growth can be accommodated with fewer additional lanes on I-10. This approach reduces both the need for additional right-of-way acquisition and potential impacts to adjacent properties. Concept A would include managed lanes in each direction down the middle of I-10, connecting the existing gap between the existing Katy Freeway Managed Lanes and downtown. Traffic could enter or exit the Inner Katy Managed Lanes at several locations. At the existing east end of the existing Katy Freeway Managed Lanes, at a location near the Northwest Transit Center and the intersection of Old Katy Road and Post Oak Road, downtown via Smith Street and Louisiana Street, and to and from the I-10 main lanes east of Smith Street and Louisiana Street. Ramps elevated above Old Katy Road would connect the Inner Katy Managed Lanes to an access point located near the Northwest Transit Center, which would connect to various modes of transportation, including transit, pedestrian, and bicycles. It would also connect to the US 290 Northwest Freeway HOV lanes. Over time, the access point could potentially accommodate additional connections to activity centers such as the Uptown Galleria area and the proposed high-speed rail station. Under Concept A, managed lanes would be added adjacent to the existing general purpose lanes. This design is similar to the existing Katy Freeway Managed Lanes. This concept would require widening and right-of-way in some locations, though the amount of space needed would be less than the general-purpose widening concept that was previously described. East of Studemont Street, the managed lanes would transition from at grade to an elevated structure and remain elevated to connect to downtown and the I-10 main lanes east of Smith Street and Louisiana Street. Concept B is similar to Concept A, but requires an elevated structure above the existing I-10 lanes. Connectivity and access would be the same as Concept A, and traffic could enter and exit the system at east end of the Katy Freeway Managed Lanes, the Northwest Transit Center, downtown, and the I-10 main lanes east of Smith Street and Louisiana Street. However, different from Concept A, Concept B managed lanes would be elevated in the middle of I-10 between Washington Avenue and downtown, rather than adjacent to the general purpose lanes. By placing elevated managed lanes over the existing I-10 general purpose lanes, only a very small amount of additional right-of-way would be required because the existing main lanes would generally remain untouched. This illustration shows how the Inner Katy Managed Lanes could share an elevated structure with the Metro Rapid bus service. Compared to Concept A, Concept B would require less right-of-way acquisition and would provide less overall disruption to the existing I-10 lanes during construction. Concept C has the same connectivity as Concepts A and B, with access at the Katy Freeway Managed Lanes, the Northwest Transit Center, downtown, and the I-10 main lanes east of Smith Street and Louisiana Street. However, instead of building an elevated structure over the existing I-10 lanes, Concept C would construct elevated lanes on the north side of I-10. In this configuration, the proposed managed lanes would more directly connect with the Northwest Transit Center, thereby providing better connectivity to the existing US 290 express lanes. Concept C would construct elevated lanes in the space between the westbound frontage road and the existing I-10 lanes. Compared to Concept A, Concept C would require less right-of-way acquisition and less overall disruption to the existing general purpose lanes during construction. However, this concept could require additional right-of-way at constrained locations, such as the section between Patterson Street and Yale Street. TxDOT values your feedback and input on these preliminary improvement concepts. Here are some questions to consider as you write your comments. Are there any other concepts not included in this presentation that you think should be considered? What concepts do you like or dislike, and why? Is it a priority for TxDOT to address the gap in the managed lane system on I-10 between 610 West Loop and downtown? The maps and typical sections for each improvement concept are available for you to review in the virtual public meeting room and on the project website. We want to provide a brief overview of the estimated project timeline. Following this public meeting, our project team will assess comments received from the public and will issue a public meeting summary report to respond to these comments. The summary report will be posted to the project website approximately 3 months from now. The next steps include additional public involvement, preparing preliminary designs and environmental studies with the goal of presenting a preferred alternative for public input in late 2022 or early 2023. Depending on the requirements of the preferred alternative, environmental clearance, detailed design, and right-of-way acquisition would occur between 2023 and 2027, with construction beginning in 2027 at the earliest. It is important to note that construction funding has not yet been identified for this project, and all dates are subject to change depending on the availability of construction funding. The project website contains all materials presented in this virtual public meeting, including this presentation in both English and Spanish, exhibit boards, a comment card, and the environmental constraints map. Additionally, these materials may be found in the virtual public meeting room that you use to access this presentation. Some files are large and may require more time to download than other project materials. TxDOT encourages you to review the materials posted on the virtual public meeting website and to provide written comments. The comment form is located on the meeting website. Comments must be received via email or mailed and postmarked by Wednesday, March 31st, 2021 to be included in the official virtual public meeting summary report. Due to the winter storm, TxDOT has extended the comment period to March 31st, 2021. You can submit written comments in the following ways: via an electronic comment card that may be filled out online in the virtual meeting room or downloaded, printed, and mailed or emailed to TxDOT. Via email to hou-pio-webmail@txdot.gov. Via mail to the TxDOT Houston District, attention Advanced Project Development Director, P.O. Box 1386, Houston, Texas 77251-1386. Online by visiting www.txdot.gov and searching in the upper right-hand search box for I-10 Inner Katy Corridor. Click on the email link at the bottom of the project page to open the comment form. Again, responses to comments received during the comment period will be included in the virtual public meeting summary report that will be posted on the project website in approximately 3 months. Remember, you can contact TxDOT at any point during the development of this project. Thank you for participating in this virtual public meeting. Please remember to submit your comments by Wednesday, March 31st, 2021.